Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's Brave Cat here once again with another Frontier Signals update. So I got quite a few things to cover here today. First, I just want to mention the links in my description on this channel don't currently work right now. You can't just directly click on them. So just in case you go down there and try to click on one of those, the reason why is because, well, YouTube just decides to put all sorts of different little blockages in place, so there's a lot of different functionalities that won't actually be available to me until I've had this channel for a few months. So anyways, with that being said, over here looking at the space weather, SDO is still completely down, and I double checked it over here because I was starting to wonder if maybe I was like IP blocked or something, but it doesn't look like that's the case. So down here on these charts, it does look like the coupling, the magnetic coupling of the solar wind, still jumping around back and forth here between the south and the north. But again, other than that, it's been pretty quiet here. It does seem like these sunspots that are facing us, or beginning to face us, on the left side over here, even though they're pretty small and not very complex, they somehow seem to be a little bit more active than these bigger ones here over on the right. So it looks like we did have maybe just another minor, very minor flare coming from that region. And again, we have this pretty major coronal hole here beginning to face us pretty soon. So we'll have a little bit of magnetic disturbances coming from that. But most of the talk for today is going to be going on with the volcanoes and the earthquakes. So looking here at Earthquake 3D, this is pretty much everything that has happened following that Deep 6 that happened yesterday. So going to be pretty closely tracking this because, again, this is very most likely to result in a shallower, larger earthquake. And, you know, Dutchsinse, he posted a video yesterday detailing these things. So I'd highly recommend checking that out. I'll link the video in the description. And again, you'll have to manually copy and paste the link because those are not fully functional in my description yet. But that being said, so a deep event like this actually happened a while ago, like a 5.8, I believe, and Dutchsinse warned everybody. He said to look for a shallower, larger earthquake up to a whole magnitude larger, and the very next day that happened. And he actually was thanked publicly, even on the BBC. So it's pretty important, it's pretty spot on. So just be paying attention to that. So since then, we've had a couple more deep events down here off by Fiji, and a shallow 5, another 5 over here, and then we have equidistantly spread 4s going pretty much all the way across the North and West Pacific here. So we're looking at the southernmost islands of Japan, going through Japan, going up here to Kamchatka and Alaska once again. Still have activity going on there. And looking at things into the states here, so Hawaii has actually had a pretty large uptick on the tremor swarms going through here, as well as the volcanic activity coming from Kilauea. And I've got a couple of cool clips to show from that at the end here. So looking at things in the United States, we still have this influx of pressure going all throughout. So we have a new 3.9 down here in Utah, and all sorts of other spots being hit currently. So definitely we're going to have eyes open in this area. And looking at the tremor map, we do finally see some significant activity going on here with the slow slip events. So we're looking at a cluster here in Northern California, and a cluster going on up here at Vancouver Island. So this is going to start to give us a pretty good picture on what is going on. So I thought I muted that, oh well. But moving on here, so again, we have Italy here in main focus, and since that 6, we've had a few earthquakes going on at each of the volcanoes around here. So we got Mount Vesuvius, we got Campi Flegrei right here, and then even down south, let's see. We do also see some earthquake activity going on down here at Etna. So definitely a lot of stuff happening volcanically. And we take that over here to Volcano Discovery, where we see the same image going on here. So we have Iceland with a 20,000 foot high blast, various volcanoes around Japan seeing activity, a lot of the same things from Sabancaya, Fuego, I'm pretty sure is going to be still on here. So pretty extensive list. And it looks like even without the sun's help, we are now going to be seeing a major transformation from all the deep events leading to volcanic activity and shallow events. So again, keep your eyes peeled because this is only the start of this watch period here. So looking at the global incident map, I didn't see anything that isn't being reported on the other feeds. But again, we do still have quite a lot of developments happening pretty rapidly here across the board, even down here at the southernmost Atlantic. We have 5 range activity. So we are definitely at a global uptick going through all these things here. And this list is quite long. There's even a couple more here on the Alaskan island chain. And just kind of scrolling through here, there's Fuego doing its usual thing. Fuego has been very, very consistent. It's just 14,000 every single day, basically. Not sure if that's ever going to stop. So that's pretty much what we got going on across the board here. Don't really think I left anything out. I think I might start thinking about replacing some of these sunspot images. Well, see, now I can't do that because the Stanford website is the same one I was having problems here because of some web issues. So I'm not really sure. I guess we just gotta hope SDO comes back online. And in the meantime, I could look for other options to put on the website. So wrapping things up here over on X, it's a few just various news related things. So Jimmy had this post here, and there's a massive development happening at the excavation of the Great Pyramids themselves, which this is pretty huge, and it looks like it took them 10 years to finally have the green light to do this, with all sorts of setbacks, presumably mostly involving the World Economic Forum, again, getting their grubby hands all over these things, and withholding funding and development. So it looks like finally something is going on there. And then we've had reports that Iran is laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, or however you say that. And it looks like open-minded approach, he actually called that out 10 days ago. So, see what happens there. But here is the clips from Kilauea. So pretty massive lava fountaining going on here. And it's even raining down on one of the cameras. So that thing might just be toast. And then a pretty good paper coming here from Craig Stone over on X, and involving ECDO theory as well, relying on geophysical proxies, measuring like periods of stability, and then marked by periods of rapid change going on this planet during certain periods. So that definitely correlates to some of the 6 and 12,000 year cycles of catastrophism that goes on this planet. We got another clip of Kilauea going off. And we also have around 50 pilot whales stranded on a beach in Indonesia. So this is most likely going to have to do with the things going on geomagnetically on this planet, and various species of animals and marine life have been having trouble navigating and showing up in places where they normally shouldn't be. And then closing that off here, we have a snowstorm in Kazakhstan. So that'll pretty much wrap things up for today. If anything else major happens, I will post something about it here. We are still in a eclipse period here, so that's why we see the gaps here in the data, and they actually mention that over here on the NOAA website. So I guess that also has to do with the weird flashes that we see going on the chronograph images here. every single day. So that explains that. But anyways, that'll do it for today's update. Hope y'all enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you all in the next.